Welcome to another exciting episode of Bowhunt or Die. Justin, we finally got you back in the house. Some exciting news at home.
Yeah, got a new baby at home, and you know, it's kind of nice to get a break from work at home by actually coming into the office. I feel bad for my wife sometimes having to deal with the baby and the 2-year-old.
I'm going to put that down in the review right here, that he's actually would rather be here than at home. Hopefully Amy's not watching this episode, but you know what? I got to tell you, Justin, I mean, I'm starting to get excited. I mean, both of us have got some pretty killer deer on trail camera photos, number one. Number two, we've got cold temperatures rolling in. We've got rain in the forecast, fall food plots. I don't know about you, but I'm telling you right now, I'm getting ready for the fall.
Well, it certainly seems like the season is almost upon us here. And you know, actually in a couple weeks, I know Troy's heading out to Wyoming to do an antelope hunt. So I mean, literally in the next 2 weeks, we're going to start having some hunting footage roll in. So it is the season, and it is coming very quickly. You know, Todd, I guess with that being said, you know, speaking of the season coming up, you know, practice. You know, it's one thing that we talk a lot about, and it's definitely time to start getting out. And if you haven't been shooting, now's the time to start.
Well, and this next segment you're going to see, Paul takes it to a whole new level. I mean, I got to tell you, I was sitting there watching that footage, and I was like, way to go, Paul. I mean, this is taking it to not only the level of being more accurate when you're in the stand, but practicing the self-filming part. That's cool.
Well, Paul's taking it to the level of a guy who doesn't have kids and has a lot of free time. So check this segment out now.
Yeah, Christmas morning. Christmas morning to me. Waiting on my target from Reinhardt. Got the woodland buck coming, and I think it's right in here. Let's go check it out, see if that's what it is. Sure enough. Let's go get it set up tonight. Got some really cool ideas for this thing. As self-filmers, you know, we don't get a lot of practice self-filming and hunting. And so with this decoy here, or this target here, sorry, I'm gonna hook it up and get some practice in. All right, so everybody always talks about, you know, practice how you're going to hunt. If you're shooting out of a blind, you need to practice out of a blind. If you're shooting out of a tree stand, you need to practice out of the tree stand. So what I'm doing as a solo filmer is I got this Reinhardt deer, and I got it on a pulley system. And this pulley system is going to allow the deer to travel while I'm in the tree stand running my camera. I'm going to have somebody stop the deer, you know, in my shooting lanes, and just like a actual deer scenario, you know, be able to practice that ethical shot. That way, when season comes, you know, I'm not saying, oh, my fault, made a bad shot, looking for deer, all those type of things. So the more practice and the more situations that you're gonna hunt, the better. All right, we got all the wire hung, we got it pulled nice and tight, we got the decoy on it, we're ready for our first test run. Let's go, Neffy, send it down. Well, that worked out just how we wanted it. Let's go climb up in the Lone Wolf and shoot some arrows at this thing. All right, well, it is not bow season, but it is practice for bow season. I'm sitting up in about 10 feet up in a lone wolf here, and I got my deer set up down below me, and it comes down on this line. What I'm doing is I'm practicing for self-filming for deer season. So let's see if I can get this Reinhardt and put it through the heart. Well, you know what? That worked out just how I was hoping it would. That after I put the Reinhardt deer on that cable, I had somebody, had Colin Nash running my deer for me, and that worked out perfect. I was able to run a little bit of self-filming and shooting and trying to stop my deer and get the practice in for this coming fall. So until next time, we're running trail cameras, we're putting in food plots this fall, and practicing in the actual hunting scenarios. So until next time, bow hunt or die.
One thing we talk about a lot, Todd, is, practice like you're going to hunt or practice like you play. And, in this case, Paul, like we said, took it to a whole nother level. I'm out there thinking I'm doing a good job because I'm wearing a jacket and I got gloves on, trying to practice like I'm going to hunt. Paul's actually climbing up in a tree stand, setting up his camera, moving target, the whole deal. I mean, the guy is out of control.
There's no, like I said, earlier, I was sitting here watching the footage here of Brandon. I'm going, man, that is... he may be onto something there. He may be able to sell little $10 shoots in his backyard of his house for people want to, maybe we give his address out right here and let people start going over to his house.
Come shoot the moving deer at Paul's house. I'm sure he would appreciate that. But Todd, like we said, practice is a huge thing. Guys, it's already August. A lot of seasons are opening up very soon here out west, or if not, September for a lot of places in the Midwest like Wisconsin. So, if you haven't started shooting already, definitely do that. Get your bow tuned up, take it to the shop, get it looked at, start shooting broadheads as early as possible. I know there's a lot of guys out there that just wait till like the night before season and they run to the local store and they pick up broadheads and they're like, oh, I'm just going to go out tomorrow and go hunting. And that's not what you do. That's just a recipe for disaster right there.
Well, not to mention the fact too that, honestly, these archery shops are great, but the reality is they can only handle so much work at one time. It definitely pays to get into the archery shops early, even if you have to leave your bow behind for a couple of days.
Right.
Get it tuned up, get it shooting right, let them do what they need to do versus hoping that you're going to walk in.
Well, you talk to any shop owner and they're like, guys come in the 2 days before the season, they're like, hey, my bow needs a new string and a tune-up and all this, and they're like, sorry, I got 50 other bows to work on, and you're not going to have it by opening day. So definitely plan ahead. Now is the time when you guys want to be thinking about that. And then next up, we're going to check in with actually Tom Alford and his little guy Jack, and then we're going to check in with Richie as they're also doing some food plot work.
Alright guys, well it is July 5th. My son Jack and I are back at the food plot that we planted earlier in June, and we're going to do a little maintenance. The chicory and the clover is growing really nice, but there's some areas over here that I poisoned to try to take out some of the weeds, and I killed some bigger areas, so time to get to work. We're going to start mowing the chicory and the clover plot here, overseed it, and let it rain. Here we go. You ready?
Yeah.
All right.
Go.
Jack's overseeded it and then fertilized it at the end and let it rain. Is that your fertilizer there?
Yep.
We are going to fertilize this right now and hopefully get some rain tonight. Right here is sort of that line that I'm trying to create. This side over here is all soybeans. There is some volunteer corn in there, but I'm trying to create a big wall here and give the deer some cover. So kind of where Jack's at now is a big deer trail, and they like to come right out of there, walk the edge of this corn, and then my tree stand is right here behind us. So basically that's the plan, is to try to kind of funnel them here, give them not only a food source with the corn, but some cover, so when they do come out of the woods they feel safe. This kid's a beast. Probably one of the best things you can do with your kids is to get them out here during food plot season, because teach them hard work. They're learning, more about habitat and and it's not just about killing all the time, and you know, creating food sources for, you know, not only the deer but the birds, and you know, the rabbits and pheasants and turkeys and everything. So this is like one of the greatest things you can do with your kids being a hunter, is get them out and just start doing food plots, start teaching them the importance of conservation and hard work. So fun part will come in the fall too, with hopefully a couple whitetails in the freezer, but bowhunt or die.
All right, guys, it is June 20th. We're out here in Northwest Illinois at our lease. A while back we came in and we put it on all our Heartland Wildlife Institute clover. Right now we're gonna spread some, we got some triple 19 we're gonna spread. So we're gonna get this all worked in real good right now. We've got some weeds that have come up within the plot, which you can see throughout here. We'll go from there. We're going to go up the hill a couple 100 yards. We're going to do the Heartland Wildlife Forested Trail food plot. But what we're going to do is once we get the fertilizer set out here, we got the new Stealth Cam G30 set up on a stick and pick. We're going to set out 12 cameras today to start taking inventory. Like I said, it's June 20th, so velvet growth is moving along pretty rapidly right now. So right now is a good time to get your cameras out and start taking inventory of what you got on your property to prepare for your hit list, you know, for this fall. So we're gonna get going, stick with us, bow hunt or die, getting ready for the fall. If you guys remember late season when I harvested my second buck here in northern Illinois, and that frigid temperature is 35 below, there's the lone wolf set. I got it done, and I'll give you guys a view of where that is there. There's my stand there. And they actually came out just to the right of Randy right now. They came down off that hill, coming down into the plot, which was turnips last year. So this year we're trying something a little different. We're gonna do the clover, so hopefully this works for us. Good man, Randy, good man. Give me a bow hunt or die, Randy.
Bow hunt or die, baby.
Yeah, buddy. We're gonna put our Heartland Wildlife Institute forested trail in the spreader, and we're gonna get some seed in the ground. One small bag plants half an acre. We just finished spreading all the seed on the food plot. We're gonna set the Stealth Cam up on the mini stick and pick here and just see kind of what's transitioning through this area. I know there's a ton of turkeys on this ridge, and we know we get a lot of deer movement through here. That was the main objective of planting this stand. That's actually where the buck stepped out when I made the shot from this set. By running this ridge, that enables all those bucks to scent check for any estrus does. So it made perfect sense to originally set this set here. Luckily it paid off, and we had a successful hunt out of it. But we're trying to recap on everything we did last year, improve a little bit, and see if we can't pull it off again in here this year. We'll see how everything works out. Bow hunt or die, stick with us. It's going to be a great 2014 season. Can't wait.
Well, first off, I think we're going to have to get maybe child labor services involved here, Justin.
Yeah, no
I mean,
kidding, right?
he's got Jack out there doing an awful lot of work. I mean, I don't know how much time he was working the camera, but I saw Jack pushing that fertilizer spread around quite a bit.
Well, every time I've got yard work to do, I tell Tommy to send him to my house, and then he texts me a picture of Jack doing yard work at his house. So he's already put him to work. He's not available for me.
Well, one thing's for sure, this is the first year that Tommy's really gone gun-ho on this particular piece of property, getting a food plot established. I've already got information from him that he's already attracting a pretty nice buck over to his spot, so that's pretty cool to see those efforts.
Well, yeah, I
come
mean,
out.
I think one thing that we should note about the area that Tommy's hunting there, where he's got all those food plots, is we're in McHenry County, Illinois here, right, which is northeast part of Illinois, where we're in one of these CWD areas where literally the DNR has come in with sharpshooters during the wintertime, and they've sniped thousands upon thousands of deer. So where there used to be a ton of deer concentrated around this area, they're just not here anymore. So what Tommy's really trying to do is give them a good food source where he can start attracting some of those deer back into his place, because come late season over at his property, I mean, it's a ghost town.
Yeah.
There are literally no deer over there anywhere, and like you said, it's already paying off. He's getting a couple nice bucks on his trail camera, so hopefully it capitalizes on that come this fall, and he can shoot one of them.
And let's be honest, guys. I mean, with how good the farming equipment has got nowadays, I mean, you used to think as the farmers being your best friend. I mean, quite frankly, I mean, there's not a lot of food left in these fields after the farmers go through and do the picking. I mean, seriously, if you take the time to walk, actually, I don't know how the deer find any food in those things, because half the time I can't even find an extra kernel of corn or a soybean sitting around. A lot of times the food that they're looking for is areas where trees have fallen down and the tractors had to go around them and stuff like that, and they weren't able to actually pick or harvest the stuff. Now, as far as Richie goes, Richie had success over his food plots last year, so he's changing things up a little bit this year. The second plot, I think, looks like maybe a little bit of a nicer one. It's hidden back more in the woods.
Right.
It's a little bit more secluded. There's a spot where I think a big buck's going to step his foot in where the daylights are still
Right, yeah,
going
he's going to feel safe, coming into that type of secluded food plot. So it will be interesting to see, how that pans out for Richie this year. I know he's got a great buck on his trail camera. I actually just texted a video to Todd this morning of a really big buck that he's got on his camera out there. So we'll have to see how that pans out. And speaking of big bucks, next up we're going to check in with Tyler Rectors and get an update on his hit list. One thing you can say about Tyler, the guy's got some big deer down there where he hunts, so take a look at these bucks.
Well, hey guys, it's July 18th. Doing a little hit list segment, putting up some stealth cams, getting some great pictures. Last year we got hit with EHD really bad and kind of nervous on what was going to happen this fall. Got some really nice deer that made it through. I think, one of them is a 9-pointer. Haven't really named him yet. Last year he wasn't on the hit list. He's only 3-year-old. Never actually seen him anyway, so it didn't really matter. But got some pictures of him last year. He was running all over the place. Hopefully this year they don't run near as much, because it makes it hard to hunt. But I seen him the other night. Haven't got a picture of him yet. If I have, I haven't checked the camera that he would be on. But I seen him the other night. Got to be the same deer. He got this big sweep main beam, big 9-pointer. He's 4 this year. That makes him in trouble. Another deer. You guys watch me pick up all these sheds. This is a buck that I was calling 9th inning. He's a 10, but kind of a 9 with that broken brow. And he showed up late season. Never really seen him before until late season last year. Found his sheds on a totally different farm, 3 miles away, on a food plot. And I've got pictures of him. I think it's him. I don't know what other deer it would be, but he blew up this year. He's probably going to be maybe 170, and he's almost 160 here. So hopefully he sticks around a little bit. Maybe I'll get a look at him at this October. He ought to be a really nice deer to hunt. I also got a buck I call heavy hitter. The neighbor guy actually passed him up last year. He's only 3 here, and he had a good reason. He passed him up to shoot a 180 incher, and this deer this year did something that I've never really seen before. He went from non-typical to typical. I don't think he's going to hit the 170 mark, but it's only in July, so they still got quite a bit of growing left to do. Couple deer I haven't got sheds to that I know are around. I got Jay, a big buck, on my farm down by Astoria. He last year he had some velvet damage, big drop tine main beam looking thing. I found that shed, and he just showed up on a wild view not too long ago. He's probably going to be upper 40s as an 8, which he's got to be like a 6-year-old, probably year-old deer. So, Then I got Early Bird. He's the buck that I really want to kill. Last year he snuck up on me, 18 yards. I came to full draw, wide open shot, nothing in my way. Ran out of camera arm trying to get around me, and he just didn't walk into the viewfinder of the camera, so I had to pass him up. And he was 155, and that was the only shooter I saw within bow range last year. I got pictures of him just a couple weeks ago, June 27th, I do believe, and he's living up to his name. He's already fully developed, pretty much. So, you know, he might hit 170 this year. And then I got Tilt. I know he's around. I've got literally 3 pictures of this deer this year. Last year I think I had 3 or 4 and nothing in Hardhorn. Hopefully I got some good pictures on the stealth cam right here, and check in with you in August. So stick with it, get those food plots in, and bow hunter die.
I'm not sure exactly what to say, you know, after looking at Tyler's hit list. You know, obviously he's got some huge deer down there, and it is amazing, you know, Todd, to see, you know, last year, if you guys followed our season, you know, Tyler had a lot of deer die from EHD. We showed you a little clip of that. He had all those, you know, dead heads kind of laid out, and he had a rough season last year. Didn't see a lot of deer in general, let alone big bucks. Here we are a year later, you know, he's going into the season thinking, you know, gosh, am I going to see anything? Is there going to be anything out there? And then lo and behold, he's got a half dozen dream bucks that most of us would kill to shoot, you know, show up on his cameras. But like always, it'll be interesting to see how many of those deer really stick around once the velvet comes off, and how things really shape up for this fall.
Yeah, and I mean, Justin, with you saying, you know, I'm not really sure what to say. I mean, it's actually pretty simple. I mean, this is Tyler's 3rd year with us, and we do have that one line in the contract that does allow us the opportunity to go down and shoot one of his deer. So we could execute that part of the contract and go down and hunt with him this year. So
fair enough.
Maybe this would be the year to do it. Let the EHD year go, and now Justin and you show up this year.
Well, I know Tyler actually had a bit of an accident when he was hanging tree stands the other day, and ended up having to get a couple stitches. So if he's laid up early season,
we'll both go.
Todd and I will go down. We'll hunt his tree stands for
fair
him,
enough.
just to make sure nobody's
We
trespassing.
can bring our own tree stands. I mean, we don't need his, so keep it simple.
Why do the work? We'll just hunt his, man. He already hung them for us. Last up, you know, segment of the day is actually a unique one for us.
Definitely.
It is bow fishing, which we've seen before, but we've never had any bow fishing for paddlefish before. So we're going to join Keith Southworth and Cal Griffiths out in South Dakota as they go bow fishing for paddlefish.
In a previous episode of Bow Hunter Die, you saw Dan and Richie bow fishing for carp. But in this episode, you're going to see a little different kind of bow hunting. You're going to see me going after paddlefish in the tailwaters of the Lewis and Clark Lake below the Gavin's Point Dam, which is near Yankton, South Dakota. Bow fishing for paddlefish is like playing whack-a-mole with a bow. You never know where they're going to appear, and you have almost no time to react. So what you're actually doing is shooting after they surface or roll. You're just shooting in the water in the direction you think they're headed. You're not going to shoot them above water. They just barely come up and then they're gone. So it's pretty exciting action. So stick around and see how it all unfolds. Bow Hunter Die. I'm here today with Gerald Mestel, the Missouri River
Program Manager.
Program Manager, thank you. And talking to Gerald today about paddlefish. And what can you tell us about paddlefish? How are they doing? How's their population doing right now?
Paddlefish in Nebraska waters are doing very well on the Missouri River. We've been managing paddlefish intensively for about the last 25 years. And because of that intensive management, our populations are very stable. We see reproduction almost every year, and things are really good.
So how many archery tags do they issue a year? Does it vary?
No. We jointly manage the population with the state of South Dakota on the waters that border us, and we manage the season together. And so our archery season, each state issues 275 permits per year.
Well, I want to thank you for meeting with me today. Appreciate it. It's great to learn some new things about paddlefish.
Yes, Kitty. Oh.
Yes. Oh, there's one right there. Got him? Oh, I thought that was a good shot. Got him? All right. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Nice shot. Nice shot.
Little slime for your hand there.
Hey, way to go, buddy.
Well, Justin, when I first started watching that footage, it kind of reminded me of opening day rifle season out in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
There's boats all over the place.
Yeah, there was definitely people everywhere. And I guess I never realized until I watched this video, you know, how popular, I guess, paddlefish, bow fishing is out in that area. And I know, Todd, when Keith and Cal went on that trip and they were successful at harvesting a fish, of course, we posted a photo of it on our Facebook page, which brought out all sorts of negative comments from people saying, leave the paddlefish alone, they're in danger, they're almost extinct, and all this stuff. Well, you know, the truth of the matter is that yes, in certain areas of the country, there are a very limited number of those fish, and they are protected. But in that particular area where they were at, clearly there was a lot of paddlefish. There's actually an open, regulated season. You have to apply for a tag and go out. You can't just go shoot them like you can go shoot carp in a lot of states. So, I mean, to all the people out there on Facebook who are complaining about it, you should probably get a little bit more educated on the subject before you start lecturing us about it.
You heard that from
Coming
Justin.
from me.
Personally, it's, in my opinion, it's like trying to find a Boone and Crockett buck. You know, I mean, they're just not all over the place.
Well, I thought it was a pretty neat segment in the way that they, you know, bow fish for them. You know, it's a lot not like carp at all. You know, where you're going out at night with the lights and you know all that type of stuff. I mean, literally, it was like you're just flinging arrows at these things when they come up and hoping to hit one. So it was pretty neat, and I know Keith was very excited about it, and you know, really excited to get home and actually eat that fish because apparently they're very good eating. I've never had one.
He did send a salsa, which is fantastic. I will say that, but I have not received any fish on dry ice yet, so well, maybe it'll show up.
Maybe next week we'll have some here. So, you know, that's all the hunting, food plot, trail camera action we've got for this week's episode. Of course, before we go, we want to take a couple seconds to thank some of the people who sent us their trophy photos.
Brandon Roche,
Coltum Chicazo,
Dan Fofi,
and Michael Hagelskier.
If you'd like to see yourself right here on another exciting episode of Bowhunt or Die, make sure you submit your photos either through our website, bowhunting.com, or on our Facebook page. Justin, before we take off here, you know, one thing I always like to do, and I've been thinking a little bit more about, is, you know, what did we take from this episode? You know, what did we learn? You know, for me, one of the things that I'm thinking about here, just sitting back and watching, is Paul's episode. I mean, the more I think about Paul and what he was setting up there, my brain is just like going, gee, I need to do that in my backyard. So, I mean, you know what?
The way my seasons have been going, maybe I need to be doing that too. But I have started shooting broadheads, you know, a couple weeks ago. That's really all I'm shooting now. My bow is tuned up, it's sighted in, it's ready to go. I'm just going to continue shooting, you know, every couple of days. You know, especially I think in low light conditions is a good time to shoot. Going out right before dark, you know, right when that sun's setting and getting a few shots in. And then, you know, one thing that I did mention, you know, earlier in the show, but it's, you know, putting gloves on. You know, maybe not so much the long sleeves and the bulky clothing, but I mean, when we're out hunting, there's a big difference between when you have gloves on, the feel of your release, the feel of your bow in a pair of gloves versus bare hands. So shooting with gloves on right before, you know, nighttime, I think anyways, is a really good way to start getting ready for the season.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I don't wear gloves. I'm a little bit tougher than Justin, so you know,
everyone is really.
Well, I don't know. I've just always used the hand, you know, warmer. So I mean, again, that's all the different kind of things you learn. For me, I always got my hand in my muff, and you know what? I just deal with it. So
I think that is not true because I found a pair of your gloves that you left in one of the tree stands last year. When I climbed into it, your gloves were on the platform.
All right,
therefore, Todd is lying.
No, that's not a lie. I do wear gloves when I'm walking to the stand. I do wear gloves when I climb into the stand.
I will be watching all season long.
When I'm and yes, I'll wear them, but I'll tell you right now, when that moment of truth comes, most of the time, I pull them off, As long as Justin cut the lanes properly, I'll be able to make my target. I'll be able to shoot good.
Fair enough.
Unlike
Well, guys,
last year when that big buck got away because of him.
that's all the action we've got for this episode of Bow Hunt or Die. We will see you guys again in 2 weeks in August, and we will have some more hit list updates, hopefully some big bucks on trail camera for you.
In the meantime, don't forget to check out facebook.com/bowhunting for daily updates, news, photos, and other exciting information. We want to hear your opinions and your stories, so join us now and like us on Facebook.
This is the wrong way to do it. This is what not to do. But since it's just a decoy, we're a go. Let's get this thing. This is your what not to do, bowhunting.com tip of the week.
Eagles here. The J is silent.
I don't think it's scared.
Like Jägermeister, it's silent.
Scared?
Scared.